Good morning. Saturday morning broadcast. The plot thickens. Oh boy, do we love it when a good plot thickens. And this one is thick. It seems that our pal, Ramirez, who has been the front man of Sublime with Rome for the last 15 years, and we've been sort of following this story as it pertains to my interest in Sublime and Sublime adjacent, being Sublime with Rome. And it seems that Rome is finally sort of speaking out or speaking back or talking back or, telling his side of things in regards to all of the, if you want to call it drama, that's the word that Rolling Stone chooses to use. If you want to, whatever this is, because, what's happening right now is, it's happened before, but it's kind of unprecedented in considering the history of this whole thing. And, ultimately, it's just funny how it always ends up this way. And, a great case study of this situation is another one of my favorite bands, TSOL. And everybody knows the story of, no, not everybody knows the story, but the story of TSOL goes that, in a very condensed nutshell, another band from the similar area and says, didn't have overlap, but, Eric has talked about being a big TSOL fan as them being local punk fare, and Eric was, very much into punk rock. So Jack Grisham and Greg, the keyboard player, and Todd, they all leave TSOL in 1983. Ron and Mike, God bless them, greatest guitar bass combo, punk rock combo ever. They decide they're going to continue on with the band name, and they actually enlist Jack Grisham's brother-in-law, Joe Wood, and this other guy named Mitch, and they form a new version of TSOL. And I got to tell you, I like that record. The Change Today record, it's a great record. It's a good record. But once again, the age-old tale of the time-worn tale of, hey, you're calling this thing something that was already established as this thing. You are now inviting comparison and brand confusion, and that confuses fans. And why do we need the name? We need the name because it's already established. And I don't want to, I don't know what the reasons Mike and Ron's reasons were for continuing, but listen, that's their livelihood. They wanted to continue on. It was funny, the history is that the story goes that Jack wanted to actually, he wanted to start over. They wanted to call themselves a completely different band name, and the other guys didn't want that. So he was, they were out. They left. TSOL continued on, and eventually, under sort of, I don't know what the dynamics were in that band. And I haven't really read too much about it. But at some point, how about this? At some point, substances get out of hand, and substance use in that band gets out of hand. And it winds up with the other two original founding members, Mike Roach and Ron Emery, guitar player and bass player, or bass player and guitar player, both end up leaving their own band. And Joe Wood basically assumes control and ownership and interest of TSOL for almost 10 years, and total 10 years, maybe even a little bit longer. And he hires two new guys, and then they go out as TSOL. And then this is the craziest part. The original band, the guys who started this thing, they decide to play a show as TSOL, and they are legally barred from doing so by Joe Wood and his TSOL. They have to call themselves by their last names. And it's like called Live 91 or whatever. I mean, how nutty is that? So their band that they started is now playing a completely different style of music, going in a completely different direction. And it's an incredible story. And eventually those guys, the original TSOL, were able to wrestle control their band, and they got the band back, and TSOL has been going ever since. And God bless them for it. May they never stop. Knock on wood. Point being is now we are in a similar situation with Sublime with Rome. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's just the same sort of situation. You now have a band called Sublime with Rome going out on a farewell tour. They've announced a farewell tour, and it is a full tour, and they are advertising it as Sublime with Rome, and there isn't a single member of Sublime in it. There's no Eric Wilson. There's no Bud Ga. There's no Todd Foreman. Instead, as I've learned, a friend texted me who knows about these things and informed me that when we were watching Sublime with Rome without Eric, we were watching some live video. Go watch that episode, whichever one it was. When Eric left his Instagram statement saying, "Hey, I'm not in Sublime with Rome, and that's not, if you buy a ticket to Sublime with Rome, you're not going to see me. There's no members of Sublime in Sublime with Rome." Do you know who that guy was? That was Cheese. Cheese, Cheese. He is Rome's manager, and he's the Dirty Heads manager, and he's been managing Sublime with Rome for this entire time. And what he used to do is he would go out on stage, and this is something that Bud used to talk about. Bud doesn't really talk about why he split anymore, and when he was asked recently, he was just kind of glazed over it a bit, like a little bit, like, you know, he sort of alluded to things. He actually I thought he was pretty tight on. I mean, he wasn't too I don't know what I'm at a loss for language here. He was not too critical verbally, publicly, in that kind of way. He didn't have any reason to be, but Bud won. Eric won. You know, these guys, they're winning. They're winning the situation here. They've reformed in a meaningful way that they tried to do 15 years ago with Rome, and it didn't work because they used the name Sublime. That's the only reason why Sublime with Rome didn't work. Truly, there's not a single other reason. Rome, perfectly fine at what he was doing, totally, like 100%. But the Sublime, I've said this 100 times. I've said this how many times, how many episodes? So, where was I in my little diatribe here? That Bud recently said, he verbalized, you know, what he used to say, like when he was really outraged about this. This is about, you know, I want to say this is circa 2012, after he left Sublime with Rome. They had been doing it for about 2 years, and he was furious. He was not happy that their manager, Cheese, would come out to play acoustic guitar for What I Got. And he would make, like, I guess he would make, I don't know. I've seen some video of it. I guess he kind of looks like he's kind of like pageanting. You know what I mean? Like the guy seems like, I want to use words like seems and allegedly and all sorts of that kind of language. It's important to use that. The guy seems like he's so fucking thirsty to be that fourth fucking leg of the table. You know, he's the manager, but he wants to get up there and do his thing. That's what it seems like. I'm saying it seems like. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it seems like. The optics from an outside point of view. I'm just a guy on the internet. I'm nobody. I'm literally a guy on the internet voicing his opinion, which is my God-given right to do so. But it seems like this guy Cheese wants to soak it up, man. And it's pretty fucking cheesy. Name is appropriate, in my opinion. So I learned from this person who texted me that the video we were watching, the guy who I thought was like some tech or something, who was just like living his best life, being like, oh, this weird situation where I get to play with this band calling themselves Sublime with Rome at these big shows, and I'm just having a fucking ball doing it. Turns out that was the manager. And so that kind of changes the whole sort of feel of that, right? Like, I no longer kind of feel happy for this, who I thought was just some, you know, working guy, he's working a gig, and hey, we need you to come up here and play bass. Great. I'm soaking it up, having fun playing this wonderful live music, and people are really receptive to it. I'm having a ball. Like, I was genuinely happy for that dude. I'm a little less enthusiastic, if I could be honest now, because it's just like, dude, you're the man, like, he wanted that so badly. Well, hey, listen, you got what you wanted, but I would say it's come with a lot of, you know, disrespect, man, like in a variety of ways. So that was Cheese, who's now the bass player. Cheese has replaced Bud, Eric in Sublime with Rome. There's nobody called fucking, there's nobody who is a member of Sublime and Sublime with Rome now. So they're going out on a full feature, farewell tour, not feature tour, farewell tour, full blown out farewell tour. And what's crazy is, I mean, there's a lot of dates. I thought, initially I thought it was a few obligations. It was a few obligations that were already booked through into 2024. But what it seems to be, there's tapping upstairs. It's hard to concentrate. Oh my God. Hold on. I got to do this. I hate to do that, but it's just it's hard. I'm in the house with children. Children like to bang. Come on. I'm doing a production here. I'm doing my radio. What does Raleigh say when he gets interrupted? Raleigh, you better stop that. Or you're gonna fucking die. So all right. So Cheese. So this guy Cheese is now doing it. I mean, he's the base. Oh, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So now it seems that there's the full farewell tour. And here's what I can guess. And this is a guess. Take this with a grain of salt. I do not know the business side of things. This is me reading this article, looking at everything and trying to read tea leaves. That's all I'm doing. That's all I am doing. I have no knowledge. Here's what I'm guessing happened. Because Cheese, who I'm assuming, I do not know. Maybe Cheese, he has some sort of equity. Obviously, he's the manager, right? Cheese, I imagine, along with Rome and Eric as well, right? Because they're in this partnership and whatever, this brand that is Sublime Rome. They have licensed the name Sublime all this time. So I would imagine that Bud's been getting a piece of whatever they've been doing, right? Because Bud's roped in there as well. Bud's been getting a piece for a long time, and so they're all roped in. They're all doing, they're all invested in the. Sorry, I am losing my train of thought here. Okay, refocused. That they have been licensing this name. So I imagine that the name was the license was renewed at some point for 2024 at some point, right? Which means that legally they can still use the Sublime with Rome name through 2024. However, it seems that initially it was just a handful of tour dates. It was festival obligations that they were contractually obligated to do. And once those obligations are met, then things can dissolve. And that's why, but Rome's announcement saying I'm leaving the band, as if we already know Eric's already played with Bud and Jake. So it's like, what kind of announcement is this really? In all honesty, I guess you have to make some kind of statement. And we talked all about that statement. And when I think about that statement right now, as it stands with this, I imagine a better statement would have been something along the lines of something along the lines of embracing the, foundation that he has built his entire career on and just gracefully bowing out of the way so that they can continue on as doing what they're doing and recognizing that his duties are finished and it's time to move on. It's time to go do the Rome thing, and he's doing his Rome with Duddy thing or whatever. But it seems, again, using that word seems, it seems like they are that they are trying to squeeze blood from a stone, that they are trying to get this tour, get as much tour time. Because here's the thing, Rome now has to launch himself as a solo act, and he has a good leg up in doing so. It's easy to do a solo act because he was in Sublime with Rome for as long as he was. So but he's using one last tour. It seems like he's using one last tour. He's trying to get one more bite at the apple. He's doing it without Eric. It just doesn't make any sense. So let's take a look at what, now that we've sort of filled in here, let's actually take a look at what Rome's side of the story. That this headline is very titillating. It's very yeah, titillating is the right word. Let's see what is said. But before we do, we need to talk about Riot Stickers, the sponsor of my channel, Riot Stickers. We love Riot Stickers here at the Frumess channel, riotstickers.com/Frumess. We have a special deal. The promotion, it's linked down below in the comments. You can get 200 die cut stickers for $69. It's an incredible deal. Die cut stickers, they have like their own custom shape, whatever shape you want. If you want it in the shape of a star, if you want it in the shape of a teddy bear, if you want it in the shape of a hot dog, you can get a star in the shape of a hot dog via computer guided scalpel, which should be its own band name, by the way. Computer guided scalpel lasers around or cuts around the sticker, creating a unique custom shape. And that's what it means to be a die cut sticker. You get 200 of those for $69 at the link down below. You go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. Let's play the Less Than Jake theme song for riotstickers.com, and we will be right back to hear more about what Rome has said in this Rolling Stone story interview thing, whatever you want to call it.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too, posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you, from stage backdrops to bass drum heads. We can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And that's a promise. Okay, before we continue on, let's go to the comments real quick and just take a look. We have some comments here, and I've been ignoring them. We have Two Stupid Pickles who says, wow, I don't know what that's in regards to, but good morning, Two Stupid Pickles. Chief Crow says, Frumess rules, listening at work. Sublime is back. Rome is cringe. I hope you are enjoying this broadcast while you are on your shift, and may it be a peaceful, productive, relaxed, chill shift. May the time pass by if that is what you so wish for it to do. You're just glad for some new Sublime news. I mean, it's been flowing like crazy. We've been getting so much Sublime news, and I'll be honest with you, like I feel like we've kind of talked about it, but we keep getting these developments, and I feel like I need to, I want to weigh in on them. If only the Misfits were so forthcoming, we would have a lot more Misfit videos on the channel. Dagger Love is here. Dagger Love, how are you? I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday morning. Dagger Love says, I love Riot Stickers. Can I get pizza shaped stickers? Of course, Dagger Love. You can get any kind of sticker shape you want. Dagger Love knows what's up. It's funny, Dagger Love actually makes music as well, and it's on Spotify. So go search Dagger Love and check out Dagger Love's music if you get a chance to. Two Stupid Pickles says, a pickles shaped sticker would be cool. I gotta check it out. You really do. You're not gonna find better prices. Sharpie Riot, CEO of riotstickers.com, he knows what he's doing. You're not gonna find a better deal. $69, 200 stickers. I already did the sponsorship thing. We're done with that. Let's move on. Let's actually dive right in, shall we? Let's dive right in. People get so mad that the shows are too long. The show is too long. You don't know when to stop talking. Some people like the long broadcast. That's why I clip the shows. I clip them up for the shorter segments that people appreciate. And even then, they're not appreciate them. You just can't win. You just can't win with people. All right, let's go. Okay. Sublime Wars, Rolling Stones exclusive. Sublime Wars, Rome gently strikes back as band moves on with Bradley Nowell's son. What a friggin' headline is that? Oof. Gently. Who put the gently? Whose idea was that? This is by BRIAN HIATT, and it came out yesterday. So this is a fresh periodical we have right here. So Wow, Sublime Wars. Sublime with Rome is touring this year, as is Sublime without him. In his first interview, that was a nice little piece of wordplay right there. In his first interview, they're calling this an interview about the drama. Rome Ramirez, who has a new solo single, of course, and now the reason why Rome is speaking out, it just comes to the forefront. Let me get as much press out of this as possible. So we are actually Rome. We are contributing to the press machine, even though nobody watches this. But like, here you go. Here's your publicity, right? Who has a new solo single, tells his side of the story. I didn't know that there was another side of the story. Well, there always is another side of the story. Rome Ramirez will be playing Sublime with Rome farewell dates without any original members of Sublime, but that was never his plan. Accordingly, oh my God, fucker. Oh my God, we got blocked. This was how did this? It's because I clicked back on the article. That's what happened. Oh man. Okay, we're in damage mode right here. I can't read the freaking thing. Hold on a minute. Let's hope this works. Because if it doesn't, we're gonna. Oh man, son of a bitch. All right, hold on. I got this. Have no fear. All right, we're gonna figure this out. Give me 1 second. Damn. I was not intending this. I accidentally refreshed. I accidentally had to refresh the page. I was in incognito mode, which put me past the paywall. And damn. Here, let's try this. Hopefully this works. Let's see. Please let this work. Okay, here we go. Oh man. Are we good? Wow, that is lucky. That is lucky. We got it. All right. Whew. That would have sucked. All right, show is back on. It was oh, it's not going to let me do a Safari tab. It only does Chrome tabs. Damn. Ain't that a bitch. Here we go. Oh, we are lucky. Okay. It's, man, I got to tell you, sometimes doing this stuff, like, I don't know how this works, doing this live stuff sometimes, because when shit goes wrong out of nowhere and you have to fix things on the fly and you're in the middle of doing a show, it's just, oh God, is it annoying. Well, I got to fix this now. We're going to fix this real quick. All right. So as we were saying here, let me put my little plug in the thing before we move on. All right, there we go. That's in there. All right. Sorry about that. Show is back on. We may continue. Even if late Sublime frontman Bradley Nowell actually had a crystal ball, that was a really cheesy line. He couldn't have possibly imagined the latest dramatic developments in the world of his band. 28 years after Nowell's tragically early death, two entirely separate versions of Sublime will be touring in 2024. It's bizarre. As I said, this has happened a bunch, but on this kind of level, it's different. Why is this different from other situations? Why is this even kind of different from the TSOL situation a little bit? Because there was legal action to bar this from happening, and what sort of excused it for so many, not all of us, not myself, but what excused it for so many people was the notion that that there were original members of the band in the band. That's what made it kind of like tolerable for a lot of people, Sublime with Rome, because Bud and Eric were there. And then when Bud left, just having Eric there, it was already fucking weird. And now just the irony that you're calling the band Sublime with Rome, which is predicated on the notion that Rome is not Sublime and that he is with Sublime, and Sublime is no longer there, and that they are charging tickets. They are charging money, probably prices that are on the level of whatever would have been if Eric Wilson was there, and Budga, who knows? They're charging people money, and there's probably people that are going to go to these shows. My hat is fucking all weird. There are people that are going to go to these shows thinking that they're going to see Eric Wilson. No matter how much advertising you do, no matter what Eric Wilson posts on his Instagram, people are going to go to Sublime with Rome farewell shows thinking they're going to see either Eric or Bud, and neither, you know. Additionally, there's a lot of people that have embraced Sublime with Rome, which again, under any other name would be totally fine. But they're like enthusiastic. And the argument I always hear is, well, you know, Rome, he's like kept it alive, man. He's like carrying the torch. He's going out there. He's playing the music. And it's like, dude, you had Badfish. Badfish was already doing it. Badfish was doing it before they were doing it. Now, obviously, Bud and Eric have much more of a right to do it than Badfish does. But like that need, that market was filled. And that's not to say that Rome couldn't be playing Sublime songs. He could have done this whole tour just calling himself Rome. Or how about this? How about you get creative with it? Cross out Sublime with the X and just call it with Rome. That was what he should have done. That would have been the baller move. You release a statement saying, this is the deal. This is what happens. Thank you, Eric and Bud, for giving me a career. We want to go out there and fulfill our obligations to all the people who depend on this touring, all the people and their families, like the crew and this and the other. We don't want to disappoint any fans, but we cannot in good conscience call ourselves Sublime with Rome. So this tour is called With Rome. I know it sounds kind of dumb, but if you cross out the name Sublime, and would Bud and Eric and the Noel estate clear something like that? I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of clever visual tricks that you could do to cross out the Sublime and just call the tour With Rome. That would have been fucking so baller. And then just every night, hey, thank you guys. Thank you for giving me a fucking career. Thank you. And like, hey, we're playing Sublime. We're playing Sublime with Rome songs. And we're playing Rome songs. Hey, I'm Rome. What a great way to introduce yourself as a solo act. Totally drop the ball. That was the move. That would have been the move. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think that would have worked? That would have been the move. Just call yourself With Rome. Everybody would get it. Everybody would get the fucking thing. Not permanently. You don't have to call yourself With Rome the entire time, but you just, for that tour, for that sort of thing, oh, Eric's bounced. So I'm With Rome. It would have been so fucking funny. Or how about this? Invert the whole fucking thing and call yourself Rome without Sublime. Holy shit. And it's like not false advertising. You literally inverse the name. Rome without Sublime. It's still kind of lame because but it's honest. It's like, hey, I'm standing on the Sublime name. I've established myself and now I'm going out there. Hey, Eric, Bud, can we call this the Rome without Sublime tour just as a farewell? Like it's kind of funny because everybody's left the band and I'm going out. And then that way people know that Rome, it's literally in the title, Rome without Sublime tour. Fucking genius. Why people should hire me to come up with these things, because that's a fucking excellent idea. Sorry, I just got really excited about that notion. Not With Rome. It's Rome without Sublime. That's what you call the fucking tour, bro. That's what you do. Rome. The tour is Rome. Rome without Sublime. Boom. Final name. So it's Rome. You're going out as Rome because that's your solo name, right? I'm Rome. Rome. And then underneath, Rome without Sublime farewell tour. Fucking genius, dude. Damn. Somebody pay me to do that shit. All right. So let's see. Let's continue reading. Sorry, I got really caught up with that. So two separate versions of Sublime will be touring in 2024, and no one's happy about that. I'm sure Rome's not happy about it because his livelihood is ending, and I don't fault him. He's got 3 kids. He's got to make money touring. I get it. I fucking understand that. He's got a family to feed, and he'll do just fine as Rome. But like, this is exploitative, man. And it says, and no one's happy about it, especially Ramirez, who will be playing numerous contractually obligated shows billed as Sublime with Rome. I mean, that sucks. That I think you want to know something? I honestly think that if you went to those programs and be like, look, we legitimately cannot call this Sublime. Eric's gone. You can't call this Sublime with Rome. You just can't fucking do it, dude. Let's call it Rome without Sublime. You're still getting the Sublime brand mark. And you know what? It is kind of like a fuck you. You know, Eric did bounce on him for his reasons. Whatever his reasons were, Eric bounced on contractually obligated shows. That fucking sucks. That does suck. But Eric had his reasons, whatever. And it's like, even going to Eric, like, Eric, come on, call it Rome without Sublime. Can we just call it Rome without Sublime? Everybody will know. Everybody will understand. Like, it's better that way. It's better than, let's put it this way. Calling the tour Rome without Sublime would be a million times better than calling it Sublime with Rome. So he's playing shows, Build a Sublime with Rome, the final concerts for the band, even as original bassist Eric Wilson and drummer Bud Gaw reunite for Coachella and other festivals as plain old Sublime, fronted for the first time by Bradley's 28-year-old son, Jacob Noel. Rome says, if it were up to me, Rome tells Rolling Stone in his first interview about the drama, this wouldn't have been the way that it went down. Oh, this is so cringe, man. Ramirez, like, as if, like, dude, like, you don't have the power here, okay? You are not in control here. I'm sorry. Like, it's just the hubris of this guy. It just kind of bums me out. Ramirez, who's been keeping the Sublime fame alive, he has, in the terms of playing the music live and introducing it to new generations and new markets, for sure. He did it under it shouldn't have been that name, but they did that. I can't take that away from Rome. No one's taking that away from Rome. With Wilson since 2009, has a new single out today, an impressive cover of Lee Field's ballad Forever that shows off serious vintage soul vocal chops. I was like, hey, I'll give you the exclusive. So here's what I see. Reading between the lines here. I'll give you the exclusive and you will plug my single. I mean, that's kind of like tit for tat, though. Like, I mean, it makes sense. If I were in his position, I would do the same thing. I think we all would. It's not, you know, I'm definitely not going to break his balls for that, but you know, come on. He's looking towards a solo future along those lines while also continuing Roman Duddy, which might just be this. And what is this guy with the conjunctions? Is and with are conjunctions, right? Isn't that what a conjunction is? Now I feel stupid. I think it is. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Rome loves conjunctions, and his project with Roman Duddy, which is his project with Dustin Duddy B. Bushnell of the Dirty Heads, both of who were managed by this guy Cheese. According to Ramirez, the decision to end Sublime with Rome, which led to the return of Sublime, was his own. Come on. All right. This is where bullshit, dude. The moment Eric decided he didn't want to play with you anymore, your band was done. It was over. Don't tell, like, this is what annoys the shit out of me. He's trying to control a narrative that's not controllable, because we all saw what happened. Eric played a show with those other guys. That instantaneously destroyed the credibility and the fact that there was Sublime with Rome. That was done. Eric was the only thing that was propping that up. And now he has no choice but to end the band. That's so disingenuous to me. Which I decided to end the band was his own. Here's what he says. Eric has had some serious health issues and some serious life-changing events within the past year, all of which we've continuously tried to help him with. Read between the lines on what that means. Let's take that one more time. Eric has had some serious health issues and some life-changing incidents within the past year, all of which we've continuously tried to help him with. That's why you tried to do the band without him. They had fucking Tony from No Doubt and that other guy coming in. You know, did you really think you could replace Eric Wilson in a band called Sublime with Rome? I mean, what was that really about? What were you trying to do? Were you trying to see if you could legitimately continue on as Sublime with Rome without him? Did you think you could protect your trade, whatever fair use copy of the marks that you were using that you had legally licensed by doing that? I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know any of these things. I don't actually know. But just the hubris of it all. I just can't get over it. I can't get over it, man. And the fact that, like, Again, the only statement that he's made publicly about Eric leaving or this, that, and the other is Eric has had some serious health issues with some life-changing incidents without the past year, all of which we've continuously tried to help him with. Instead of, gee, thank you, Eric Wilson, for giving me a career that has afforded me to make untold amounts of money, live whatever lifestyle that Rome lives, that he lives because Eric's decided in a studio, hey, you could fucking front a band that plays Sublime songs with Bud and me. Like come the fuck on, bro. You were a dude. You were just a dude, man. That just really like, where's the, hey, congratulations on Bud and Eric playing music. If you're really a fucking fan, dude, that's what you would want to see. I mean, it's just ego. There's so much ego in this. I really do have the time of my life getting up on those stages and singing those songs. On the flip side, having to kind of watch someone struggle with their health and trying to maintain practices to help better themselves, that can be very difficult. That he is trying to air dirty laundry without actually airing it. And again, whatever the reason that is grinding your machine to a halt, which is what is happening, like, all that aside, you were nothing but a fucking, as Jake says, you too were nothing but a custodian. You were asked by those guys to front the fucking band singing Sublime songs and nothing more. That's it, dude. That's it. And you could have, for these last 15 years, been focusing on your solo career and boosting yourself up in a way that the moment that this failed, because at some point it was going to finish, at some point it was going to be done, you'd be well in your way of just switching over to the Rome shit and just doing your thing. This to me is disingenuous. It just really is, man. It really, really is. What are the health issues? What are the life-changing incidents? I don't know, not for me to speak on, not for me to talk about. I don't really know, but like, it's just the idea that you're making it about that, I mean, ignoring the fact that, look at Eric branching out with Spray Allen. You know what I mean? Like, what's that about? Read between the fucking lines, read between the lines. And, listen, a lot of this is Eric Wilson's fault. Like, this all happened because of Eric Wilson, mind you. Like, Eric made the decision to continue on without Bud. He made the decision to go on and do his thing, and he was happy to do it, and he did his thing. And at some point, he was going through the motions. At some point, he grew sick and tired of the situation. Maybe he didn't like the power dynamic behind the scenes. Who knows? I don't know. But that it, that it's, and then look, he says Eric's health has not been good. And then he says, my health is actually better than it's been in years. Oh, sorry. My fault. I thought Rome said that. That was Eric saying that. Because what happened was they reached out to Eric Wilson for comment. Rolling Stone did. And here's what Eric Wilson says in response. My health has actually been better than it's been in years. Wilson responds in a statement to Rolling Stone. I'm still recovering. I'm glad that they reached out to Eric in response. So that way, again, but at the same time, listen, he already said what he said on Instagram. It's like, I'm not against Rome speaking out or speaking up or speaking in any kind of way, but like, I really feel like this is trying to control a narrative that he can't control it, man. You can't control it. Eric continues on. I'm still recovering from shoulder surgery, and it's been a long road, but I'm healing quicker than expected. Honestly, I wake up every day feeling better than I have in years. Getting to play music with my best friend, Bud, and jamming with Jake has inspired me again. Take what you will from that statement. Mind you, the last thing that fucking Rome put out with Sublime with Rome, the last thing they put out was a song called All I Need. We already talked about this. All I Need. You know who gracefully bowed out of when he was kind of not, I wouldn't call it fucked. But he was pushed out of the band. Josh Klingerhofer, which I'm not a big, listen, I'm not a huge, I like some Red Hot Chili Peppers, whatever you may think about them. Their classic lineup, the lineup that they are known for, is not the original lineup, but the lineup that did all of the music that blew them up, Blood Sugar Sex Magic and Californication. By the way, all like the classic albums that people love regarding Red Hot Chili Peppers are four guys. It's Flea, Anthony Kiedis, John Frusciante, and Chad Smith, right? That's the core classic lineup of the band. That's the band that is synonymous with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Frusciante's protege, Josh Klingerhofer, who was also his guitar tech, I believe, replaced Frusciante when Frusciante bowed out of the band for the second time. And Josh Klingerhofer, for almost 10 years, got to be in one of the biggest rock and roll bands. He toured around the world. He played on 3 albums. He made more money than he ever could have possibly fucking imagined. And what happened was, eventually, Frusciante, Flea started to miss the chemistry with Frusciante. It wasn't the same. They started, jiving again with Frusciante. Things started to, click. And what happened? They basically brought Frusciante back into the band without telling, as far as I know, without really telling. They did it behind Josh Klingerhofer's back or whatever. I'm saying his last name wrong. And they pushed him out of the band. And you know what? I got to tell you, Josh was very honest in his feelings, as I recall. And again, I'm saying this off the top of my head, so please correct me if I'm wrong here. Something along the lines of, he was so grateful for the journey that he had went on, and he was very sad that it was ending, but that he was incredibly grateful. And like, what else could he possibly say or feel about the situation? It seems that he had a full understanding that the relationship with Frusciante and Frusciante's place in that band would always supersede his own, that it was a wild ride, and that it was time to move on to a next chapter. It was so elegant and graceful to me, and that is really what I think about when I compare this Sublime with Rome situation. I really feel like that's how this could have worked out, and it didn't. And again, I say coulda, woulda, shoulda on the internet. Like, what else do you expect? But that's what I think about. So here, the rest of Eric's statement. He says, getting to play music with my best friend Bud and jamming with Jake has inspired me again, and that inspiration has led me to taking my health more seriously and enjoy each day. So maybe since connecting with Bud, and Bud and Eric have had divides over substances in the past, like in the past during Long Beach Dub All-Stars. There was a rift, and obviously that stemmed from the trauma that they both experienced when Bradley died, and other things probably. Eric, in the book Crazy Fool, Eric was had lost. Bradley was not the first person that Eric had lost to drug use in that kind of way. Eric had another friend who died, and it really fucked Eric up and they talk about that, and that's really not publicized, but it's in the book. It was published in a book in the 90s called Crazy Fool. So I mean, it was out there. The information was out there. It's just not well talked about, elaborated on, this, that, and the other. Really should do a video essay on Crazy Fool and look at the information that's in that book at some point. It's really sad. It's really hard. It's a hard read. I don't know. We'll see. If we do it, I want to do it with the respect that it deserves and tread lightly. The point is, maybe one of Bud's stipulations for working with Eric again is like, hey, like, you need to take your health more seriously. I'm saying, I don't know what take your health more seriously means, but I can imagine what it means. So maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he says, for me, this is what Eric says. For me, the Sublime with Rome thing had its time, and I wish Rome the best. Not once, not fucking once. And maybe he does later in the statement. I did read through this. He might say it down the way a little bit, but not once when this was all happening. Not once did Rome congratulate or wish the best. Rome didn't understand. Rome thought that he was it. He thought he was the new fucking guy. At least this is what it seems. And now he's shocked to see that he was nothing more than a fucking placeholder, man. He didn't have the humility to understand what exactly he was in that situation. Rome says he learned about Wilson's reunion with Ga, who had been out of the picture for a decade, in a Jacob-fronted version of Sublime, the quote-unquote the same way you all did over the internet. And again, much like the Frusciante thing, the way they kind of forced out Josh Klingerhofer or whatever, which it probably wasn't the most graceful way to do it. Doing that to a guy here in defense of Rome, in the slightest defense of Rome here. If you're in a band with a guy called Rome, and your band is called Sublime with Rome, and you play Sublime songs, and you've been doing it for 15 years, It is of your obligation, Eric Wilson, to go, hey, this isn't working. I'm pulling the plug on this thing. I'm giving you a heads up. I'm pulling the plug on this thing. I'm going to do my thing. Now, who knows what the dynamic was between these guys behind the scenes? You know, maybe it was really toxic. Maybe there was a rift. Maybe Eric didn't feel like talking to Rome about it. You know, he had his reasons for having Rome find out over the internet like everybody else. But I will say that maybe was not the best thing to do in a bit with a business partner that you've been in business with for 15 years. But at the same time, the optics of going out as Sublime with Rome with the basis from No Doubt, it doesn't look good. It looks like usurpage. It looks like a usurping. That's what it looks like. And then you have this guy Cheese who's like just fucking sweating, like, I can't wait to get my hand. Like, he wasn't like he was like setting out to get his hands on that bass, but like just salivating to be on that fucking stage. All the puzzle pieces kind of fit together a little bit. You don't have to know the details to see it from the outside. Again, allegedly, I do not know. That's like the equivalent of the childhood cootie ... Now you've got the cootie shot. But the real surprise, he maintains, was learning just last week when via public Instagram post from Wilson that the bassist wouldn't be joining Ramirez on the remaining shows they had booked this year's Sublime with Rome, which means that the performances would feature 0 original members of Sublime. So what Rome is trying to say here is as follows. I didn't know that they were going to go out and reunite for that HR thing as calling themselves Sublime. I thought we were going to I realize now that the band is over and I'm ending the band and we're going to do a farewell tour. And I'm assuming that Eric will be on this farewell tour with me. And then Eric makes that statement. So in any case, that means that there will be performances that will feature 0 original members of Sublime. Quote unquote, from Ramirez, Rome says, we were under the assumption that he would be working on, getting his stuff together, Ramirez says, and that we were going to continue out for the remainder of the year and then part ways on a very beautiful journey that we've embarked on for the last 15 years. And you want to know something? Once again, in defense of Rome, I can appreciate that. That is a valid expectation. Hey, we've licensed the name for another year. Clearly, we have contractual obligations to meet, clearly, and we want to we want to go on a farewell tour and close this thing out. Fine. But again, it's like so that's not what happened. Like, what here's Wilson responds, as far as me not playing with Sublime with Rome, that has been known for a while now. The behind the scenes stuff can get a little cheesy at times. I love how he uses the word cheesy, particularly. That is a very interesting word to use when your manager's nickname is Cheese. Take what you will from that. I don't know what that means. Eric says, for me, it's about fans and music. So for now, I will leave it at that. Again, Ramirez wishes it wasn't going down this way. If I could wave a magic wand and just turn those into Rome shows, I would. A part of me questions that. Like, a part of me says, okay, like, I can appreciate that. And I want to believe that's true. But the other part of me goes, I feel like there would have been a greater effort to inverse or do something creative, make a statement or something. Instead, they are advertising. And I received a Facebook ad in my Facebook feed that was advertising Sublime with Rome farewell tour. There's no mention that Eric Wilson is not in the band at all. Meanwhile, Sublime is trying to differentiate and saying, hey, OG members, Bud and Eric with Jacob Noel, Brad's son, on guitar. So they're trying their best to sort of do that. And, it's not being reciprocated. He says, but the fact of the matter is we have commitments that we've made to multiple people. That's a real, well, nothing I can do about this. Guess we're going to have to go as Sublime with Rome. What can we do? We've made commitments, so we have to stick to them. That I do believe. And I do kind of wish that Eric would stick with them too. Hold on a second. Thank you. My son is watching YouTube and dancing or something. And like I said, you can hear a mouse fart in the basement all the way up in the attic in this house. There's no soundproofing. It's really frustrating sometimes. But it's hard for me to concentrate and talk when I hear the, you probably hear that too. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's friggin' annoying. I love you, son, but come on. We've made commitments. We have to stick to them. That's the kind of person I am. There's a lot of stuff right now happening behind the scenes. A lot of stuff people would probably love for me to say, but that's just not me. One of those, a classic comment, right? We've made commitments. So we have to stick to them. That's the kind of, we've made commitments. We have to stick to them. That's the kind of person I am. There's a lot of stuff happening right now behind the scenes and a lot of stuff would people love for me to say, but that's just not me. And it's like, dude, where is any kind of bow out? Where is there any kind of just acknowledgement? Even Eric at least says, I wish Rome well. Nothing. There's nothing. He emphasizes his warm feelings for Wilson, who started playing. Okay, here's me eating crow here. He does make a statement. My bad. I spoke too soon. He emphasizes his warm feelings for Wilson, who started playing with Ramirez when he was an unknown kid who didn't even own a guitar. It's a very conflicting situation because I have a lot of love and admiration for him. Okay, good on you for finally admitting it, Rome. I don't think I would have. This is the statement that just fucking kills me right here. This is the one that makes me just so, I just get so frustrated when I see this sort of shit because it's just so egocentric. I don't think that I would have made it this far in music without Sublime and without the opportunity, and that he was the person who championed me and introduced me to Bud and gave me my first electric guitar after I pawned everything. Dude, not good enough. Dude, you have a career because you played with these guys. I owe them everything. You owe them everything. I'm not saying Rome didn't have talent. He does. He's talented. Guy fucking can write good songs. Some good songs. That one he just wrote, I wasn't particularly fond of, the All I Need song, but it was desperately trying to write something sublime. I'm sure Eric realized that. He's like, what is this All I Need? We have a song called All You Need. What are you trying to I don't know. Ugh. I don't think I would have made it this far in music. Like, listen, I'm all for believing in yourself. I'm all for, the tenacity and grind and trying to do, but come on, dude. Admit the fucking scaffolding that fucking pushed you up. They fucking gave you everything, dude. Just fucking admit it. It's okay. It's okay to have a leg up. I don't think I would have made it this far without Sublime. Of course you wouldn't have made it. I don't think. It's just such a goofy thing to say in light of everything. Hey, this has been an incredible journey beyond my wildest dreams, and I owe it all to Eric and Bud. So at the end of the day, no matter what, drama there is or behind the scenes situations, I'm eternally grateful to those guys and I wish them well. I would respect Rome so much if he made a fucking statement like that. You made that statement, Rome. I would respect that. I would respect the shit out of that. And I can't stand that shit. Jacob Noel recently told the Rolling Stone Music Now podcast that I listened to, great podcast, listen to it, that he respected Ramirez as talented while revealing that the very existence of Sublime with Rome had been emotionally difficult for him. I grew up worshiping the band. This is from Rome. I grew up worshiping the band, but for Jacob, it's a much more personal thing. It's a much more personal thing. It's his fucking dad, who fucking died before it's literally his, the fucking ghost of his fucking father. Okay. It's a more personal thing. What do you mean it's a more personal thing? It's the most personal thing. It's the only fucking vestige of his fucking father that he has, man. Come on, Ramirez. Come on, Rome. Mentioning that Rome apparently had a civil phone call conversation with Jacob 2 weeks ago. I would I would pay $1,000. Okay, I wouldn't really pay $1,000, but if I had $1,000 of disposable income, like money that like I didn't like need or like that I just came into, and you said, "Hey, you can listen to this phone conversation. You can listen to this phone conversation if you pay $1,000." I would pay that $1,000 to hear those two talk. That would be fascinating, fascinating to hear. He says, Ramirez says that he had a civil phone conversation with Jacob 2 weeks ago. That's his father, and he has a different relationship to that music. You think? You think he's entitled to those feelings about Sublime with Rome? That is a mature notion, and I tip my hat to Rome for at least saying that he can understand that he's entitled to those feelings. And I'm sure, I imagine that phone call was like, he says a civil phone call. I imagine that phone call probably ended up, had to be somewhat positive for them to talk like that, talk on that level. But I'm glad, I appreciate that Rome appreciates that or can understand that. And that's it, man. That's the, oh, no, sorry. There's more. There's one more. In his ideal world, Rome's time with Sublime would have ended far more elegantly. Yeah. I would have loved to have done something so special and then passed the mic to Jacob and let Bud take the kit on the last show. Oh God. Because he wants to Sublime with Rome to be the continuation. He wants this new thing to be a continuation of Sublime with Rome. Just something awesome for the fans. I think the fans would like that. They would like that because that's what they deserve. I think I actually agree with Rome on that. That would have been nice. That actually, I take back what I just said. That's not cringe at all. That would have been really sweet because then Sublime with Rome, they could have done their farewell tour. They could have done their tour obligations. And then he could I can understand Rome's intentions there. Fine. That's okay. Okay. But again, I think why that doesn't work is the fact that like Sublime with Rome is not Sublime. It's not that thing. It's different things using the same name. Sublime doesn't need any drama. Sublime is a beautiful thing. It's clear that there are no hard feelings on his side as yet, but regardless, I think Jacob is the right man for the job, man. I mean, of course, yes, he is. I wasn't sure. I now know he is too. He's Bradley's son, for crying out loud. I have 3 beautiful children of my own. I can relate to that sentiment. At the end of the day, I'm just a diehard Sublime fan like everyone else, and I wish nothing but success for them. Well, that's nice to at least say that at the end. So Rome boofed it for most of this thing, but at the very end, he brings it together. It comes together, or at least, I don't know how much of this was taken in or out of context. Brian does a great job of sort of giving Rome a +1 here by doing that at the end. And that's it. That's interesting. Michael Jackson estate, Catherine Jackson clash and court case over 600 million catalog deal. That'll be interesting to read. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on all of this? What do you think is and is not and whatnot? But it's just interesting to hear. So so Rome, to sum it all up, Rome is saying that there's a lot of behind the scenes shit. Eric is, it sounds like allegedly, seemingly, it seems like this cheese guy is a big part of the problem. That's what it seems like. I don't actually know. It seems like this cheese guy has his fingers in pies and all sorts of stuff. And what gives me that? Nothing but intuition. You know where the intuition comes from? Seeing that cheesy motherfucker plucking bass on stage, happier than a fucking pig in shit playing those Sublime songs. Thank you for joining me. Peace, hair grease. Let's see what else unfolds. Maybe there'll be more, maybe there won't. Goodbye.